Hey there, little one. That's a brave teddy bear you've got.
If you carry me up the stairs, I'll tell you a secret. The words slipped from the trembling lips of a sick little girl, her tiny voice cracking like broken glass. The mechanic froze, his oil-stained hands hovering midair. He had fixed countless engines, but he had no idea that this one request would fix something broken deep inside his soul. And what the little girl whispered at the top of those stairs left him utterly speechless. Marcus was a man who had learned to live in silence. His days were measured in the sound of clanging tools and the smell of gasoline. Neighbors passed him by without a second glance, their polished shoes clicking past his dusty garage. To them, he was invisible, just another tired man, hunched over engines that weren't his. He had no family left, or so he thought. His brother had disappeared from his life years ago after an argument that carved a canyon too wide to cross. Since then, Marcus drowned himself in work, letting grease and metal be the only constants in his world. But fate had a way of creeping in when he least expected it. That night, as the last rays of sunlight bled into the horizon, Marcus spotted her. A little girl sat slumped against a lamppost outside the crumbling apartment building across the street. Her dress was torn, her skin pale, her small body shaking as if every breath might be her last. She clutched a worn-out teddy bear, its button eye hanging loose. And when she lifted her head, Marcus saw eyes far too old for her tiny frame eyes that had seen too much pain. He rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice rough yet gentle. She looked at him, fragile and trembling. Then came the words that would change everything. "If you carry me up the stairs, I'll tell you a secret." Marcus hesitated for only a second, then bent down and scooped her into his arms. She was feather-light, but he could feel the weight of her struggle in every shallow breath. The stairwell loomed before him narrow, cracked, the smell of damp wood and peeling paint filling the air. Step by step, he climbed, his arms aching, sweat dripping down his forehead. The girl's small hand clung to his shirt, her whisper almost lost in the silence of the old building. Neighbors peered out from behind half-open doors, whispering. To them, Marcus was just a mechanic. But now, with this child in his arms, he looked like something else, a protector, a guardian. A man carrying more than just a child died at the top of the stairs. The little girl tugged weakly at his sleeve. "You remind me of my dad," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He used to carry me like this before he left." Marcus felt a sharp ache in his chest. Before he could speak, she reached into the pocket of her dress and pulled out a folded photo. The edges were torn, the colors faded, but the image was clear. It was a man in a mechanic's uniform, standing proudly beside a car, the same logo on the chest. The same smile Marcus hadn't seen in years. His brother. Marcus's hand shook. His vision blurred. And then the girl whispered again, "My mom says Uncle Marcus is still out there. I prayed I'd meet him one day." The photo slipped from his fingers. His heart raced. This wasn't just any girl. This was his niece, his brother's child. The door at the end of the hall swung open. A woman gasped as she saw Marcus standing there with the girl in his arms. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted in shock. "Marcus," she whispered. It was his brother's wife, older now, her face marked with years of hardship. Tears filled her eyes as she stepped closer, unable to believe what she was seeing. In that moment, three broken souls collided: the estranged uncle, the weary mother, and the fragile child who had unknowingly brought them back together. Marcus sat down in their dimly lit apartment, the girl curled against him, her breathing steadier now. He had spent years believing he had no family, no purpose beyond fixing cars. But this little girl, this fragile, sick child, had given him something he never thought he'd find again. Family, hope, a second chance. He realized then that the heaviest thing he had ever carried wasn't an engine block or a car part. It was the weight of regret, the silence of years wasted. But now, with her in his arms, That weight began to lift Dot from that day forward. Marcus was no longer just a forgotten mechanic. He became a father figure, a guardian, a man who carried. Not just a child up the stairs, but carried an entire family out of despair. The little girl's secret had rebuilt something greater than he imagined. A bond of blood, forgiveness, and love. Dot. So the mechanic who thought he had nothing discovered everything in the whisper of a child. Would you carry someone if you knew the climb could change your life forever? Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and share your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories that honor silent heroes, hidden battles, and miracles waiting in the most unexpected places.